that's really interesting. I really like how personalized you made the experience, and I can hear the intentionality and not judging the experience for other people when you're speaking. How did you stop? Like, I know you stopped that day, but how did you stay stopped? If it wasn't the 12-step meetings you were going to, what do you think was the catalyst for you having that freedom?
I think there's so many things. I think I finally wanted to live. I think I have a really strong, I'm not religious, but I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus, and I believe in Buddha. All of that finally started to, like, the meaning of why we might be here, like existentialism played a huge role in this. How I was almost dying, and then how I stopped. I think there was like so many things that happened that Tuesday morning that I write about in that book. I had this experience, and I haven't really talked about this that much, but like I woke up.
I'm going to stop you for a second because you got really emotional then.
I'm looking at your eyes, and I'm crying because I'm looking at you. That's why. Because I think like sometimes it's like we talk about this, but we've been through this experience together. We both know what I'm talking about. So I'm looking at your eyes, and I'm crying because you're kind of crying.
I am. Yes. Well, because you said you were almost dying. Like you were headed there, and then you had an experience which allowed you to stop.
When I actually got emotional was when you said, I see the intentionality behind letting everybody have their own experience. Because I think that is the point, which is letting everybody have their own experience. Yeah. That is. But then now we're talking about this, which is super emotional. But it is. It's far away and it's always close. Oh my God. Are you getting Kleenex out of here? I think I was looking for it. I brought you water, but I didn't bring it.
Here you go.
Next time, I promise. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I think like this is like such a special story. So I woke up that Tuesday morning, the day that I was like, I can't do this anymore. I woke up and I literally, I was bulimic too, and we haven't talked about that, but I was severely bulimic. And, I would eat sometimes a few $100s worth of food a day and then throw it up in cycles as I was drinking, as I was smoking pot. And then I'd go to work. Yeah. And lead a team of like 20 and be like, and so I had that morning when I woke up, it was after a multi-day bender, and I would order in food. I was afraid to take my trash down to the recycling. So I'd let it stock up until I could do it at like 4 a.m. or, some secret time. And so my apartment literally was just full of trash bags of rotting food. And there was like, it's sloppy. So there's beer on the floor. And like, I woke up again, no sheets on the bed, that whole situation. And I just was like, it was like waking up, and I crawled on my floor and I screamed, and I just like was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't, like, help me, please. And then I go to Starbucks to do my thing, to like pull it together, and I walk back into my building, and I'm so drunk still, or like just in that like, alcohol haze, and like there's a guy that was just recently let go from my job in the lobby of my building. I'd worked with him for years. He's just standing there talking to my building manager. And I was like, let's call him John. I was like, John, what are you doing here? And he's like, I'm moving into the building. And I was like, I couldn't even mesh it together. And he's like, let's go on a walk. So we go on a walk, and I'm just like dying, and he's telling me this story, and he goes, you need to make sure and tell, Dr. Ross, because I worked in healthcare, Dr. Ross, give Dr. Ross this message. So I'm babysitting Dr. Ross's kids 2 nights later. So I'm like, okay, I'll tell him this thing, and so then, and then I don't see the guy again for like, probably, I don't know, a year. Like he was there just that morning, and he gave me this message, and 2 nights later, I end up on BART with Dr. Ross. I'm on my way to his house, and we end up on the same BART train, coming from different locations, and we're on his way to his house, and it gives us a minute to talk before he's heading out with his wife. And I said, oh, by the way, I ran into John, and like, because we hadn't seen him for a month because he'd left, and like, I was like, he wanted me to tell you this. And so it caused us to have this conversation about mental health. And he goes, I think John has borderline personality disorder. Oh. And like, at least he exhibits those signs of it. And the second he said that, I was like, oh my God, I have borderline personality disorder. Like, that was what I like rolled it all up into, which,
Yeah.
you know, it's addiction. But like that night, Dr. Ross leaves, and I put, you know, I realize now that that's from like ER. He leaves, and like, it's like George Clooney leaves. And I put his kids to bed, and I researched borderline personality disorder, and it's like, you need to stop drinking if you have this. And I was like, oh, I need to stop drinking. And so I don't know how to explain like the sequence of events, or that I was even able to see the sequence of events and how impossible it was.
Yeah.
But that was my way in. And it happened the second I asked for help. The second that I said, I need help, like, however this works, you know, John is dropped into the lobby of my building.
Right.
And, like, things like that. And it's just, to me, it was about paying attention to these things, but things like that just started to pick themselves, like, that started to happen. So when you ask how I got sober, it's because I started paying attention. And these things that started to come together and come into view, just like, you know, that was, I would say, the thing that kept me going was I could not deny what a miracle life could be.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of therapy. I mean, like, then I did all of the stuff that we do to help us, you know, like, get sober. But, like, that was the thing, which was the piece where all of a sudden I felt like life could actually be more.
Yeah.